Well, I'll end the tour by showing you the entrance to the museum that we saw in the basement of this building here near Colmar in France. And there's a very historic museum down in the cellar that you want to go check out, and I've got some videos of that. So this is just what the front door looks like to the museum down to the cellar. We're in the basement here, a little small town near Colmar, France, and we're looking at a museum in the cellar where the Americans and French soldiers, while they were fighting the Germans, would find shelter and so forth. And they have a nice museum with lots of mementos of the German, French, and American fighting here in this area. So we'll take a quick walk through so you can see what's going on. The other people here are my tour groups. Photograph during the fighting here in this part of France in January and February of 1945. Here we have a display case of German infantry weapons. And I'm not going to linger too long because you need to come out here on your own. Mementos from the French First Army, their helmets, and artifacts from the French African Army. What I think is really good is they have a lot of artifacts from the battlefield here and so forth. Here's the remains of the engine of the P-47 Thunderbolt and so forth. But I think probably the most interesting thing is they have these dioramas here depicting what it was like for the soldiers on both sides. From the patch or the symbol there on the helmet, that's the 3rd Division soldier. That was their patch, showing some guys set up there taking a break in between whatever it is they were doing. Colmar is only 18 kilometers in that direction, and since all this fighting was in January and February of 45, one of the worst winters in European history and all, they've got the representative of their clothing they were wearing, which was totally inadequate for the time. Over here, diorama of the Germans. Footwear was very important. Everybody's getting trench foot. More artifacts over here in this case, and so forth. And then we get over here, and you can see more of the German stuff. For those of you that are so inclined, let's look this one up. This is an MG-42 right here, which was one of the more devastating machine guns that the Germans had. Okay, I'm going to turn the video off here, and then I'll step on the other side, and you can watch some more of the video over there. Well, we were just over on this side, starting our walkthrough of this exhibit of the fighting here in the Colmar pocket. We'll go over on this side of the museum. Nice black and white footage of the fighting. Anyway, as you might have seen in the first video, they have these dioramas. Here we're looking at some 28th Division. You can tell by the keystone. The 28th Division, American 28th Division, came from Pennsylvania, and they adopted the Keystone Division, and that was their logo on their patches and on their helmets. Here's a mortar crew. This is a German supply canister. You could drop it from an airplane, bring supplies in. Some of the British and American grenades and explosives that they used. Over here, weapons captured and used by the Germans that they got in different countries, and they used various helmets and headgear worn by the Allied soldiers. Here's a closer look at the patch. That's the 3rd Division patch. It was the 3rd and the 75th Division was fighting here in this particular area of France. And this is a radio room of one of the French generals that was fighting here. It was map table and so forth like that. A lot different than the high-tech warfare that you see on the news nowadays. The American or the coalition fighting ISIS in Syria and Afghanistan and Iraq with all our high-tech computers and drones and color displays. It was pretty crude when you think back in those eras and so forth. Here's a French map of the area that was being fought along the Rhine here, and then the pocket that the Germans had. That's why they called it the Colmar pocket. And some more of the diorama. Putting them here in the winter scenes, dressed in the winter clothes. They look so good. And then you can see more, in this case, the guns used by the American forces. And I won't crowd them in too much, but behind this glass, more headgear and so forth. And that is our tour guide who's telling us all about it. So I'll let him continue talking and so forth there. So let me see if I can step behind this lady right here. Excuse me, 1 second. Just a second. Okay, didn't want to bother them with my commentary, and we'll wrap it up with this last diorama here so you can see what's going on. Okay, we're back where we started, so thanks for watching.